said Megadeth was going on tour?
You try to take us balls.
Yeah, Megadeth is going on tour. Mudvayne too. I don't know if you ever listened to Mudvayne.
That's the most.
They get
that's
some...
the most grunge name I've ever heard in my life. I have not heard of that.
Yeah.
I assume they came out in the '90s and are from Seattle.
I actually don't know where they're from, but they're more like not alt
Or am
rock.
I
What's
thinking
new
Puddle
metal?
of Mud?
I think I'm thinking of Puddle of Mud,
Okay.
which
And there's Mud Honey too.
Mudhoney. Have you ever heard Puddle of Mud's cover of About a Girl? Nirvana's About a Girl. It's one of the worst things I've ever heard.
No, but that's
Heard.
About a Girl's a great song.
It is an amazing song. It even has a key change in it, which is kind of cool.
It does.
So yeah, Megadeth on tour.
I had no idea they were even going on tour. Actually, I texted you this morning that I was thinking about Megadeth. I was just randomly thinking about Megadeth.
Oh, that's awesome.
There was no.
That's
It's like
awesome.
It's like that meme of the girl he's thinking about other girls, and then he's just Dave Mustaine.
Thinking about Megadeth.
Yeah.
And going on tour. Yeah, you know the thing that which I'm sure you saw was like last year. What's his name? Kiko actually went on hiatus. He left the band for undisclosed family personal reasons, but now Dave Mustaine says moving forward he's not going to be with the band just because that continued hiatus. No idea what it's for, and they have this guy. Not really sure. I don't know where he finds these guys.
Yeah, but that's
Timu.
This happened.
Man,
They found him on Timu. Oh
His
my
first
God.
name's Timu. They found him on on Timu.
I mean, to be fair, their last album sounded like they found that on Timu as well. But
yes. You know, that's the thing. I absolutely love Megadeth. Their old like Euthanasia, Rust in Peace, Peace Cells, all that stuff, and even Dystopia was like a return to a really cool form. They had Chris Adler from
Dystopia
Lamb of
was
God
great.
on drums. It was great, and then. I got to give Dave credit. His genius writing of the title of the newest album, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, because that's exactly how you felt listening to it. You felt sick, you felt like you were dying, you felt like you were dead. Some of the worst lyrical structure and writing topics I've ever heard from him.
You don't want to be.
And I guess that's kind of and Rust in Peace. Didn't he say that or something in that? I don't remember, but it was literally like a review.
Go
of
watch
Peace Cells.
that Peace Cells review if you haven't already.
Yes, and the Garbage Disposal is just accurate. I mean, like, yeah, sure, they nailed the classic thrash metal sound and this and that, but like, do something of your own. Maybe write something that's got volume to it, like Dystopia did.
Well, that's the thing.
2016.
I think widely Megadeth gets a lot of flack because people point out they had Rust in Peace and Peace Cells, and they're kind of like. I'd compare them to Metallica just in the sense that they have a huge legacy based off of like an era of albums, and then everything else past that is super hit or miss.
That is very fair. I think it's just weird that Dave goes through cycles of like 2 good albums, 2 bad, maybe a decent, then back to good, then back to bad. So maybe we're on the cycle where like Dystopia was good, The Sick, the Dying, and the Pointless.
Be honest with me though.
Terrible.
Have they had an album that you can say is confidently good, like a 7+? Take away Dystopia. Since Rust in Peace.
Euthanasia. That's it. And that was only a few years after Rust in Peace.
I guess, but honestly, even Euthanasia, it's like A Tout Le Monde is one of their best songs, and then there's like 1 or 2 other good songs.
Killing Road's good. Yeah, that the title track is good. It's a cool album cover.
That was your boy Hugh Smime.
Hugh Smime.
Hugh Smime.
You know, that's the thing about him. He either gives you the coolest thing or the muddy boots on a mountaintop.
Hugh Smime does do a lot of art. I mean art. If you know what I mean.
So I have seen Megadeth live, I think, twice, and great, absolutely great live. Actually, it was Dave's 60th birthday when I saw one of them, and absolutely great. Yeah, a couple years ago, yeah. So Jones Beach was one, MSG was another one, and great live performance, very tight. I think they always open with Hangar 18, which is perfect opener, I think. And the 2 times I saw them, 2 to 3 times, it was Hangar 18 opening. I remember at MSG though, they opened for Scorpions, which is kind of funny. Scorpions are cool too. They were just so old.
Remember the Rocky
But,
like a Hurricane Scorpions?
Yes, yeah, the Rocky like a Hurricane Scorpions.
Megadeth
And
opened for them? They opened?
yeah,
for them?
Megadeth
Or
opened.
Scorpions opened for Megadeth.
Megadeth opened for Scorpions, or it was like one of those co-headline things, but not
Yeah,
really.
I guess that
you know?
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, they're just bigger commercially. Scorpions, I mean, German too.
Right.
But I remember they opened with Hangar 18, and the sound guy, I don't know who they had. He just didn't mix it well in the first song, and Hangar 18, the drums, I felt my rib cage shaking from the kick drum, and I was like, I couldn't hear anything else. I was like, what is going? I thought I was dying.
You mean like the John Mayung bass levels when we wanted to see them live?
Yes, exactly. If it wasn't for that huge guy in front of me, I probably would have got my face melted off. But yeah, and then after that, they fixed it the next song. But Jones Beach is fine. But yeah, if you haven't seen them live, and even with some of their stinker albums, they tend to play their strong stuff, including To Le Monde, which is great live. I would recommend seeing them live if you're interested.
I would love to see them live. Just the issue is, I don't know why. I need more metal friends down here. All my friends down here, they don't like, they either don't listen to music or they'll listen to just whatever's on the radio. They're just not music people for whatever reason, which is ironic.
Maybe you could,
considering that's all I talk about. It's not just the show. It's like all I talk about is like Rush. It's even a joke at the office. It's like anytime I finish a sentence, I always finish it with "from Rush." Like
perfect.
I'll compare leasing to playing bass. I'm like, yeah, it's really easy to play bass, but it's not really easy to be Geddy Lee. And then I'll just clarify that Geddy Lee is from Rush for those that don't know.
That's the only way to do it. You know, I think a real cool nerd out about Rush, like a testament to Rush, that I wish Dave Mustaine would do with Megadeth, but no, totally different fields. I get it, but and Queen did some of this too, but like Rush specifically, because we love Rush here, they were able to just they gave you such a cool catalog where, like, depending on your mood, you know, like, oh, I feel like 80s synth, boom, you know, you got Signals and Grace Under Pressure and Power Windows, especially Power Windows. Oh my God, the amount of synth on that album, which I love. And then if you want like the prog rock, you got Farewell to Kings, Hemispheres, and you know, all that stuff. And then if you want some of the polished, you know, you got Moving Pictures, Permanent Waves. If you want like the Led Zeppelin-y 70s rock, you got the debut album, Caress of Steel.
They're very experimental.
Yes. Fly By Night, yeah. And then if you want like the heavier alternative rock kind of sound from the 90s, you got Presto. And then if you want like a really surprising, awesome instrumental off an album that really was not that good, leave that thing alone.
Yeah, like, I was just gonna say that they even have bad music. If that's what you're into, you can listen to the one with the rock formation, whatever that's called.
The rock formation.
And the one.
Oh my
the
God!
Ball of Fire with the Super Mario thing. You know what I'm talking about? Vapor Trails and Test for Echo.
Vapor Trails.
Test for Echo.
You know what sucked? Because that's when Neil came back after his tragedy with his family, and that's the album they put out. That's album.
That's okay. It's still a trash album.
No, that's my point. Is it's kind of disappointing that like you expect like, whoa, it's gonna be this, and it's not good.
Well, I'll clarify.
Test for Echo. Test for Echo.
It's actually like, it depends. It's trash compared to Rush. Because
yes.
I remember I had a huge project my last year in college. I had like this huge capstone project, and it took me so long that I listened to the entire Rush discography and still had more work to do. So, and I remember that album came on and Test for Echo came on, and I remember everyone trashing it, but I'm sitting there like, I mean, it's not good, but it's not, you know, pots and pans banging together. It's just, you know, it's background music, which is exactly what I need right now.
Yes, that is what I love about Rush. But, you know, the thing again with just Megadeth, like I just love their old stuff, but I think Dave is just kind of in his own thing. You know, he beat cancer, that psychologically that does something to you, but like, you know, he's got a dedicated fan base. You know, everybody's going to go to the show because he's going to play Hangar 18 Holy Wars.
I was just going to say, speaking of the discography now, Megadeth is a little bit different of a story where, yes, they actually make feces.
Yes,
they
there
actually
are feces
put
albums.
Garbage on their album. Like, some of it is just straight up. And I love Dave. Like I personally like Dave because I think I love his attitude. And I love how he just
Yeah.
pisses off morons with his personal antics and everything. But like they make stuff that is just, you cannot listen to this.
No,
Their last
there's a few.
album, how did I describe it? It sounded like Dave fired up the garbage disposal or the lawnmower and started reciting poetry that his child wrote in 3rd grade after deep throating Ronnie Coleman. I think that's what I said.
Yes, I think that's actually impressive. You memorized the entire monologue.
I have a pretty good memory. Yeah.
That is what it was, and that's why we just did Peace Sells instead of that album, because which was shocking to me. I remember we were talking about it, like the reviews that came out, even from a lot of the fans. They were like, "Yes, this is it. This is awesome. I'm so excited." I'm like, "Did I listen to the same album?
Yeah,
Did I listen to something else?"
For once, Fantana was the voice of reason. He's like, "Yeah, 3. This is."
Yeah, he was. He did nail it on that. Which, man, I like to watch some of his stuff and the stuff he says, but I wish he would redo his rating system, because to me it just, like, if you give something a 4, not only is like a 4, like I've seen him give certain things a 4 that, like, almost sonically it's like not even close to that. Like I feel like his definition of 4 is different from what mine is, of course, obviously, than everybody else's. But like I feel like if you give something a 4 out of 10, that doesn't just mean the lyrics are bad and the writing are bad. That's got to mean the engineering is bad.
Give a score to a piece of music objectively.
I guess the only objectivity to it could be the work done to it in terms of engineering and producing, to some extent.
Yeah, but that sounds like
to
more
some
something
extent
that you can take into consideration. But I think Fantani clarified this many times, and this is, I don't know how you do your scores. This is how I personally do my scores. Is I give it the score of what I think the song makes me feel, like what my feeling about the song is. So like if I give a song a 3, like I could think, like, for example, take the Rolling Stones. They could have a total classic album that I think, or the Beatles are a better example. They have all these classic albums. They inspired 75% of the musicians that put out fantastic music today. They're considered one of the greatest bands of all time. I think they suck. I would never. I think I've heard many Beatles songs, many more than I've cared to ever hear, and my jaw drops every time I hear someone say, "Oh yeah, they're my biggest influence," and they make music that's totally different. So yeah, if I were to review Abbey Road, which I would never, it would not be a very high score, even though it has all the reputation and this and that, because it just, I don't like it. So if I were to quote, I think what you mean by an objective score is you're scoring it based on what the general consensus is.
Well, for me, not
mean?
No, not general. I like what you're saying, but not general consensus. The way I look at each, I do it by like 4 categories per song, and then overall album. I look at the instrumentation, the production, the lyrics, and then what's the 4th one I do? So instrumentation, arrangement, lyrics, and production. Yeah, that's what I look at. So the way I look at it, like, as the objective thing, like, if they got some guy that barely knows how to mix, and like you can barely hear the drums because the vocals are like clipping, and this wasn't done right, that's going to bring my rating down. If the lyrics are like bee boo bop boo boo bee bop,
the one that goes bee boo boo bop boo boo beep.
No, man, you're thinking of beep boo boo bop boo boo bop.
SpongeBob, play that song again, not going to rate it very high, because where's the meaning, where's the substance to that? Obviously there might be somebody out there who says, "Oh my God, Bee Boo Bop Bebop spoke to me and it made me get through the death of my family." Obviously, that's the beauty of music. But for me, that's how I look at it. Like arrangements, I just look at it as a steady thing, because arrangements could be textbook, or they could be unique and different and timing wise. So arrangements, I'd look at just like, how did they put, as the song progressed from start to finish, how were things laid out? And then instrumentation, of course, like, obviously, if I'm listening to a Rush song where they're ripping and doing different time signatures, that is different in and of itself than, like, I can still think instrumentation of like a basic 1-3-4 progression is still good because the way it was done. So that's how I rate it. So sometimes, like, I just feel like, for me, if you give something a 4, that means like it's unlistenable. Like, you put it on, it's like, oh, like that was done bad. The mixing was done terribly. The lyrics are awful. Not just like, I would never listen to it again. Like, to me personally, like 4 is like that. It's got the cheese touch. Don't touch that thing. Don't go near it. You know. So I just feel like that, which is why he gets a lot of flack on his like music reviews, is because he just throws those out.
Yeah, I mean the reason he gets a lot of flack is because he does music reviews. I mean, just
of course,
the fact that he does the fact that he has a opinion means that he's gonna get a lot of flack. I mean, that's what we do, and that's what we actually love seeing a lot of the comments.
And I do too.
Yeah, and
I understand it too. And this isn't like a hate Fantano speech. I just think sometimes he's just willy-nilly with 4s and 5s, and like unless it's like some weird avant-garde dishes smashing against the wall with distortion in reverse, he's gonna give it a 6. And I think that's like, you know, especially if he's the internet's busiest music nerd, I feel like his rating should be based a little less also on like personal feeling. Like, you know, like I know he loves the Deftones. I don't know if you ever listened to the Deftones. You might like some of their songs. But
I mean, one of my biggest. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was going to say he went to one of their concerts that actually the band members had to postpone some of the dates because they had rabid fans. He said he was in the pit and somebody pissed and shit in the pit and he slipped on it. And and the band made a statement on their page. They're like, listen, we love you guys. You're the reason we do this, but like, you can't be pissing and shitting on the floor at our shows. Like, you guys are insane.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know. Deftones. It's like Deftones, Kendrick Lamar, and Brockhampton are like his dream theater.
Yes, that is
just like nobody will watch any of his other videos, and then it's just like the SpongeBob meme where you got 6 billion people waiting at the Pretty Patty stand for that one, which is kind of like our dream theater videos.
It
you
is,
can see
and
the
I get
retention
that.
on like our first podcast that we did. I think we talked about Dream Theater for maybe 2 minutes out of a 40-minute podcast, and you could just see it dips down, and then Dream Theater, and then immediately back down to where it was. Yeah, so it's the same concept. Make sure you tag this Dream Theater, by the way, so that this can be that part of the video.
I will
say Dream Theater in all caps and exclamation points. I'm just gonna all of our reviews from now on, when I start putting out the reviews again, just it doesn't matter what we could be doing a zebra review, just put Dream Theater as the title. Just that's it, just Dream Theater.
Okay.
And then maybe I'll put beards on all the guys back there.
I'll put on the timestamp all caps with exclamation points Dream Theater, and I can't wait to look at the analytics of the Mount Everest and
Yes, exactly. But I want to finish my rant on objectivity in music. So yes,
of course,
there are many subjective parts, because like I just trashed some of the most classic bands of all time, and I'm not done yet. But there is objectivity to music. Like there is art that is objectively beautiful and objectively disgusting. For example, like modern art. There's this artist. What's his name? I keep butchering his name. It has a French sound to it, but he's a black guy. He died. He's a part of the 27 Club. Died in the 80s. You know what I'm talking about? His name is like John Michael Basquiat or something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So you'll look at his art, and it looks like something that my mom dug out of the attic and said, "Look, Darius, you made this when you were 3 years old in preschool." And that's what his art looks like, and people pay billions of dollars for it. That is objectively disgusting, stupid art. Or music, you want to link it to music. Godspeed You Black Emperor. Sounds like, and it's one of the most critically acclaimed, what's that album that lift your skinny fists to the sky like antennas to heaven? Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah.
It sounds like I just went to my keyboard back there, put on an orchestral patch, and just held the same chord for 20 minutes. And Fantano has his nut button out for that one. He's blasting the nut button. It's just the best thing he's ever. No, that's just nonsense. It's stupid. Pat Metheny's thing that he claims is art, I think it's a big joke. I don't actually think he would put something that stupid out. Zero Tolerance for Silence. That is not art. That's noise. It's garbage. It's not even real music. So objectively, if you like that, you're a liar, and you're lying to yourself, and you're lying to anyone you speak to. And if you lie, you're a bad person. So now I'm just saying you're a bad person if you like Godspeed You Black Emperor. That's basically what I'm saying. Anyway, let's move on to a different subject. What else did we have on the agenda?
Before we do that, I had a cool surprise here that I've been meaning to show you
surprise?
yeah, so you can see me here, but I got my drink.
Oh
I
my
don't know
god,
if
that you got a mug?
I made it, yeah, it's Vistaprint.
That's
yeah, you know.
unauthorized counterfeit SIW merchandise. The FBI will be at your house in about 5 minutes.
I thought you would like this little simplistic
That is awesome.
SIW thing.
I like that.
Maybe someday we could sell them for $85 a piece, you know,
I
with free shipping.
Did look into, so we got catfished a little bit, and I have a little bit of a surprise for you too, but it's not a good one, so don't get too excited.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
how
All right.
last year, and the reason we started doing this podcast again, they said, oh, you only need 3,500 subscribers now to get monetized.
Uh-huh.
So we have the subscribers, so that part we qualified all around for, but the watch time, the 3,000, is only, they'll allow you to sell merchandise on your channel now. So you can't collect ad revenue. You still need the 4,000 watch hours, but you can sell merchandise on your channel.
So, because I remember we were talking about how they lowered it.
Yeah. So we got catfished, basically.
Okay, well, hey,
So we can end the
SIW mug.
podcast now. We can just stop. We quit.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
But hey, the SIW mug on sale now, soon.
On sale whenever we hit our 3,000 watch hours.
And then when we get to 4, then we can. Oh my god, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Thank you, YouTube.
Yes, sir.
I guess next topic would be Ozzy Osbourne as a solo artist has officially been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Obviously, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
He hasn't been inducted into the Rock and What?
No, as Black Sabbath he was, but not as.
Oh well, so he's
Ozzy
already in
Osbourne.
the Hall of Fame.
Technically, yes,
How
he
many
is in the Hall
times
of
can
Fame.
you go to the Hall of Fame?
Depending on how you're published, like, you know, since he's published as Ozzy Osbourne as a solo stuff, that's different from Black Sabbath. So
I had no idea you can be in the Hall of Fame multiple times. So if Lawrence Taylor gets inducted into the Hall of Fame as a member of the New York Giants, he can get inducted again as just like Lawrence Taylor, the linebacker. Like that doesn't. How does that?
no,
make any
unfortunately,
sense?
it doesn't. Not like that for sports. I guess it could be also like if like the police could be. I shouldn't even know if they are, but the police could be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But Sting could also be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No, I get how
Whereas-
it works. I just think it's dumb and stupid.
It's kind of dumb, yeah.
Yes.
But and also the fact that it took Ozzy to be 75 years old to get inducted into that, even though his solo career has been kind of not over, but you know what I mean. Like he hasn't put any substantial albums out
Do we have
in a while.
Did he give a speech at his induction?
I don't think that part didn't happen yet, but he put a thing online like, you know, it feels great. He feels happy that his solo work was also appreciated as well as his group work with Black Sabbath. I know when Black Sabbath
Hall of Fame and Zach Wilde and fucking
Who would do that?
and him and his family have a podcast now. I don't listen to it, but I follow him on Instagram. and I
Ozzy
see
has a
clips 'cause
podcast.
He has a podcast with him, Sharon, and his son Jack, and his daughter Kelly.
So,
Yeah,
so his kids prop up the corpse of their father and wheel him out into the podcast room to have him
Yes.
murmur into the microphone.
that is exactly. You should listen to an episode because that's exactly what it is.
Nice.
And then sometimes Ozzy, like, if it's a topic he likes, he you know perks up and speaks.
Did you
But-
listen to his latest album that won the Grammy?
What did it win a Grammy for?
Best metal performance, I think. It's the same.
Oh,
I think it was the same one
interesting.
where the Dream Theater
Same
won
as
last year.
Dream Theater. I listened to some of it, but I really didn't. I just don't like what they're doing to his vocals, which I get. You kind of don't have a choice because he's old as hell, and even though he has one of the single most iconic voices in music, where like the second you hear a note, you're like, oh, that's Ozzy, which is really cool to have as a musician and a singer. But no, I didn't really listen to it enough.
Yeah, I just thought it was so processed that they managed to take a metal album with Ozzy Osbourne, Zach Wilde, Jeff Beck, rest in peace, all these legendary metal guitarists, and they managed to make it sound like a hip hop album. It was so overproduced.
Wow. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, so if
Which
I
actually reminds
were
me-
using your ranking scale of like lyrics and production and blah blah blah, that would be like -12. production.
Okay, negative
Yeah.
12.
Not
Awesome.
negative 12, not just because it's not like it's lazy and it was bad production, or it was bad production, but it's not like a G.G. Allen album. It was like, okay, it's almost like they got it to the point where it was very well produced, and they said, let's make this worse, and then they did that.
Yeah, I love that. It's that what's that meme? Who is that? It's these guys looking over a computer, and it's like it's a meme format, and they're like, I'll throw it up, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the best thing you've ever written. Let's ruin it, like stuff like that. I love that stuff. Oh my god. Or
Yeah.
or this is unfinished. Let's release it.
Right.
Stuff all the time. Yeah, I actually found out, which I didn't realize. There's a lot of big artists, including probably people like Taylor Swift, where when they make big studio albums and they have like I'm sure Ozzy too. They have a big influence and they work with a big studio. Sometimes they'll make donations of money to the studio under the terms of you will take this money to scout out new musicians, new bands, new artists, whatever. And that's how it's intended. Unfortunately, just like the U.S. government, there's nothing telling them how to spend that exactly. That's just like hey, you should spend it like this. And half the time they just pocket it, which is annoying. I think there should be a stipulation that forces them to use that money donated to find new good artists and not like just promote losers that have a certain image like Machine Gun Kelly and make some of the single worst music you've ever heard but will live as millionaires.
Doesn't Taylor Swift came out with a new album, right? It was called Dead Poets Society or something like that.
Yeah, the Ryan Williams movie.
Wasn't that the name of it?
Yeah, she did. It was Tortured Poets Department.
Whatever. Yeah, same thing.
Was the name of the album.
You get the idea. Yeah. Did you listen
Yeah.
to it?
I did listen to it. I
Review
thought it
coming
was
soon?
Yes, review coming soon. I thought it was better than the Midnight's album that won a Grammy for some reason. And now you're seeing people like start to realize that like it's time for her to do stuff that's not generic and boring. Like when she did the folklore stuff, that was like something interesting.
I was just gonna say that. This is like I'm sitting there listening to Fantana's review. Thankfully, he gave it a red flannel review. So I do like that, but he's sitting there talking. Oh yeah, Taylor Swift and her eras tour, and this, and she has different eras of music. And this album she did, country pop, and then this album she did folk music. She was exploring and experimenting, and in this album she returned to pop in a different, new, fierce way. And I listen to the albums, and I'm like, no, this is that the Blank Space song, like 50 times, with the same
the way she
beat
writes.
and the same lyrics.
Yeah.
It's the same song.
The way she writes choruses has been the same for too long. And the thing that annoyed me was like this album, people were like, "Oh, Taylor, she's been doing the same thing. Like, why aren't things changing? This and that." Whereas I listened to the Midnight's album that came out before this, and spoiler, I thought this album was better than the Midnight's album. The thing that annoyed me was like the Midnights came out, that was the peak of where it was bad and like things needed to change and everyone's like, oh my god, this is so good, this is amazing, this is awesome, here's a Grammy for some reason. And then this one comes out, which is actually a little better but not great, and then now people are like, oh wait, what? Like it's like they got slapped in the face with Midnights, right? But they didn't feel it, and then they got slapped in the face a second time, they're like, oh wait a minute, oh now I feel that. And that's what annoyed me. It was like 2 years ago it was a problem, not now. The only one I will say was different most was like the Evermore and folklore stuff. Yes, a lot of the core
that's your
aspects,
indie folk stuff that you like.
the indie folk stuff, yeah. But like in terms of her song structure, she did like different time signatures, she did different instrumentations, she got different producers, so that she actually tried to be different. And then she's like, oh, what if I just went back to everything I did prior and put 2 albums out that are exactly the same?
So
that I think is
would you say that she sticks to the formula that works, and there's nothing wrong with that? 7 out of 10.
Yes, sticks to the formula that works, and we gotta get a T-shirt of that now that we can sell merch on here.
That's right. Speaking of the formula that works, did you know Wolfgang came out with an album last year?
Is that the one we reviewed with the crab on it, or was that 2 years ago?
That was his first. That was actually, that was 2021. So it was three years ago.
Oh my gosh! Now. Wow, time flies.
It sure
he came out
does.
with another one.
He came out with another one. No. It's called. Ready? It's called Mammoth 2. and the songs on Mammoth 2 sound like the album should have been called Mammoth 2, because it is Mammoth 1, in the sense that the first song sounds really awesome, and then after the 7th track, the first song kind of gets boring because it's all the same song.
All the same
Yes.
song. That's the critique we have with the album,
But
because
hey,
he did everything.
He sticks to the formula that works.
Formula that works.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So I give it a 7 out of 10.
Yes.
Did we even
I'll
have
have
the
to-
rankings back then? I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
What's
Or-
our 7? Seal of approval.
Seal of approval. Yeah. That was our complaint with his first album, was since he did the drums, the guitar, the lyrics, the vocals, the everything, he didn't have any real outside input. So it was just his ideas, and it seems like it's the same idea.
Yeah, but the
just
guy's
reiterated
the guy's
in a different way.
Phenomenal musician, though. I mean, he
yeah,
really
yeah,
is
of course.
incredible. What was the song? I think the song is called "Right." That's the one song that I really liked off of Mammoth 2. And
Yes.
the way that and he did this on the first album too. The speed in which the kick drums follow the guitar, and that's what the one cool thing about playing all the instruments yourself is that talk about chemistry. It's yourself. You know what I mean? Yes, there you go. Rush.
No, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it is yourself. No, I do get that. What was that song about his dad that the lyrics were like Hallmark cards?
Oh,
I remember
Distance?
we had a problem.
Yeah, I felt they were just kind of generic.
Generic, yeah. No, I agree. I think he is a phenomenal musician. I mean,
And he has a great voice too. His
Yeah,
singing
he has a
voice
good
is
voice.
fantastic. I don't know how his dad's singing voice was. I mean, I heard his regular voice. I can't imagine he was too spectacular of a singer. I know he did a lot of backups with what's his name, Michael Anthony, when they needed them.
Yeah, Mike Anthony has good backup vocals.
But I mean, like Wolfgang could be a lead singer for any other metal band.
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah.
As a vocalist.
I just think, I'll listen to the album, but if you're telling me what I already need to know, for the most part, it sounds like maybe he should collaborate.
Yeah, I mean,
on Mammoth 3.
that would be great. Yeah, just listen to the song is called "Right" with a question mark. Just listen to that one. You basically heard the whole album, and it's a kick-ass song. And I've been listening to it nonstop since I discovered that it came out.
So let's hope Mammoth 3 has some features, maybe.
Let's hope that it's called maybe not called Mammoth and has some different songs on it.
He's trying to go with Van Halen 1, 2, 3.
I mean, Van Halen 2 was kind of underwhelming too, so maybe he's just following in his dad's footsteps.
Yeah, I did like 2, but yeah, 1 was better, especially. What's the ice cream song that everybody loves that we're mad at us for not liking?
on Van Halen 1?
Yeah, there was what was the song that Dave's talking about, like getting ice cream or something like that?
I know how the guitar goes. I forget the name of it.
Yeah, and we didn't even hate it. We were just like, it's
why is that?
all right.
Actually, the song grew on me. Like, why am I forgetting the name of the song? You just put the math equations floating around my head. I'll show you how to do that after this. What is the name of that song? And now it's gonna kill me. It's the fifth song. Let me look it up. It's the 5th song.
Okay.
It has that really cool shuffle intro that Eddie does. You know what I'm talking
Is it
about?
called Ice Cream? Is Ice Cream in
Ice
the title?
Cream Man is a cover they did. It's one of the last songs. But
Okay.
It wasn't
All
that
right.
one. Let me see. Van.
No. Yeah.
Now it's gonna bug me. Let's see. Where is it? Here it is. I'm the one.
Oh.
I'm the one is yeah.
Yes. Wow, that rang
I'm
a
the
bell
one, the
like
one
instantly.
you love. Come on, baby, show your love.
Which I guess
The intro to
perfect talking about.
Yeah, the intro to that
Oh,
song
sorry,
is
go on.
phenomenal, and then it's like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of that, for our last thing we'll talk about here, Dad Rock. I think Dad Rock is quintessential to our human culture.
But how
I
do
think
the problem with dad rock though is how do you define dad rock? Because if you go on Apple Music and you look at the dad rock playlist, it's like the Beatles, the Stones, those kinds of things. Because the millennials think they're the only ones that exist, so they think that
yes, that is fair.
whatever their dads listen to, that's dad rock, which I guess makes sense. Our dad rock is hair metal.
Yes, Motley Crue. Let me think.
Scorpion, Rat,
Scorpion,
Poison, Twisted Sister.
Oh my God, Rat! How could I forget Rat? Twisted Sister, Def Leppard. Yeah, Dad. Creed's not. It can kind of be dad rock, but it's not that old. It's like 90s. Creed is funny. You ever see their performance? Have you seen their? It was when the Cowboys were in the Super Bowl. Their performance, and the guy had like no shirt on with wings, and they put him on wires, and he flew through the air.
Isn't that what Adam Levine did at the 2018 Super Bowl?
It might have been, but Creed did that for that song. And I don't know if it was one of the band. I doubt it was one of the band members, but like, yeah, he just had huge white wings, and they put him on wires, and he just flew through the air while singing that song. And the singer was wearing a Cowboys jersey. I was like, this is America.
Oh my
this
God.
Is like...
So what you just said, I just made the connection. Isn't that what SpongeBob did when he was done playing Goofy Goober at the end of the movie? Wasn't that?
Oh, and he was like in the ceiling.
Yeah, I think he wasn't he
like...
wearing wings and he was hanging from the ceiling.
He was with the guitar.
Was that a reference to that?
Maybe it was a reference to that.
That'd be awesome.
I think dad rock's important because it shows you where you were,
but is that
and
the
where
dad
you're
rock
going
you're
now.
talking about?
Yeah, that's the dad rock I'll talk
Okay.
about. Beatles is not really. I don't think Beatles could be, and Rolling Stones could be. That's grandpa rock at this point.
Depends on who's dad.
That's true. It does depend on who's dad, but I also think dad rock has that thing where like it's kind of corny and cheesy, but like in its own charming way. Like when you see the cover of Motley Crue's "Girls, Girls, Girls," like you would probably never in a million years walk out of the store with that in your arms, but just seeing that was a piece of music that was created and exists on a shelf, I think is something special, because you're like, what is this? And then you listen to, and then you have your dads that are like, oh my God, the music was so much better. Like nowadays, all they do is talk about women and love and drugs. I'm like, did you not listen to a single song? The album is literally called "Girls, Girls, Girls."
My
It
favorite
couldn't
part
be more
is
in your
their,
face.
their rage for 90s metal.
Yes,
That's my favorite
yeah.
part, and it doesn't matter what it is. By the way, I'd like on that same topic. While we're putting together this cover album, we're trying to pick the songs right now. I'm happy to tell you, at least here's the nice surprise, is that my dad stopped us from doing a Tool cover. So you can just text my dad right now and say thank you.
I will.
Because
I will thank him for his service.
I told him, hey, we should do a Tool. They have a really cool drummer, Danny Carey, and this and that. He's like, Tool sucks. I'm like, Dad, do you even know Tool? Yeah, they came out in the 90s. I said, yeah, but they're not grunge. Like, they're not from Seattle. And he didn't want to hear it. Just like, no grunge. And then I played him the song. It's just trash. It's the worst thing I've ever heard. No, it's garbage. I'm like, Dad, Dad, what was wrong about it? And he wouldn't tell me. I know the real answer is they did not come out in the 80s, and that's what's wrong with it.
Right, yeah, that's the problem. He heard 90s and he was like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. It's just anything.
It's the Red Scare.
Yeah, 90s is the grunge. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the Red Scare for him.
Yeah.
He's like, nope.
Exactly.
But
then,
better to be dead than 90s.
But and then my mom's like, because my mom is not a huge Tool fan either, but she can admit when a song is good. She's like, oh no, try 46 and 2. So I played him the whole song, 46 and 2. You know, it has that crazy drum break in there with Danny Carey doing the jazz stuff, and it has crazy drums on it. It's just a phenomenal song, really good bass. I play him the whole song. I'm like, Dad, what'd you think? He sits there, like 5 seconds. Yeah, it was pretty good.
The reluctance.
Yeah, you had to give it to 46 and 2.
Nothing beats the Metallica shirt while not liking Metallica.
Well,
That's
no,
my
I told you
favorite.
the cycle is complete. He went from Metallica hater,
right.
now he's a Lars apologist.
Right, he is, which, I mean, it's so funny. The night, it's like just, yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I used to be like that for sure. I was like, oh, anything that doesn't sound like Rush or Megadeth or Iron Maiden, can't listen to it.
When I'm old,
thank God I don't do that
when
anymore.
I'm old now, like now, I'm damn old. I'm turning 24 tomorrow. Like I'm
Wow.
yeah, like it's, and I already have back problems and everything. But no, when I turned, I think 20 years old. Remember, I used to really be into hip hop. You can go back watch our first episodes, and all I listened to was rap, is like mumble rap and SoundCloud rap and everything. The second I turned 20 years old, it was like that episode of South Park. Just any song by like Future or Drake or Travis Scott or Lil Uzi or any of these guys that I used to listen to, after 2019, it just sounded like like just like the South Park episode where feces was being jammed into my ears.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'll go back
Yeah.
and I'll listen to the stuff that I listened to in high school. I'm like, oh, I actually kind of like this. I kind of miss this. This is pretty good. But then anything by the same guys after that point, just like, this is garbage. I can't listen to this.
Yep. It's interesting with age progression too, and like music tastes. Like sometimes like certain things will stay, but other things, I think it's just as like your ear gets older and you get different interests. Also just like a lot of that rap and hip hop stuff was all showboating and ego and getting girls and this and that. And then you get older and it's like, I have a job, I got to make money. I'm not
That's
really
true.
gonna be, and also like fatigue. Like, how many times am I gonna listen to a Travis Scott song where like he's the man, he's the shit, and there's like a hi-hat in my ear? Like, like how many times? And then he's like, oh, I've never won a Grammy. What's going on with that? I'm like, dude, like, what? So that I think is part of it. But yeah,
You talk a lot about Travis Scott. It's your boy.
Yeah, I absolutely love his music so much. Yeah, I listen to him every day, every night. Might even get a tattoo of him on my forehead, actually.
Should get the same
Cactus Jack.
the Greek wheat tattoo that he has.
Yeah, it's a great
Should
idea.
do
Let me do that.
All right, my camera's
Yeah.
almost dead.
Yeah, I think this is a good place to wrap it up.
All right,
So.
we're out.